Alright everyone, so today I wanted to go over the best method for leveling up food when it comes to maximizing the rewards from champion training events and champion training tournaments. And at the time of me recording this, there's actually a champion training tournament going on right now. Now, when it comes to the info section, this part right here is actually the most important thing that we really want to pay attention to. And the good news as well is that the champion training tournaments actually function very similar to the champion training events, so we can kind of get them both done here at the same time. Now, when it comes to the screen, the most important thing is the difference between 2-star and 3-star champions. And you can see that the amount of points that you get all of a sudden doubles from 1 point per level to 2 points per level. And that's going to kind of change the strategy of how we actually level up our food champions. So now, the good news as well is that 1 and 2-star champions are also going to be the same here. And you just want to level those up normally. Just go ahead and run through your campaign, farm the campaign just like you would normal on whatever difficulty it is that you are doing, and just do it normally. What you do not want to do with 1 and 2-star champions, though, is level them up specifically just for points. So I'll show you guys an example here. So I would not want to use like a single brew on 1 and 2-star champions to level it up part way. And the reason why is because 1 and 2-star champions only actually give you 1 point per level. So if I were to do this, I would get 9 points. It would take me up from level 1 to 10, which is a difference of 9 levels, 1 point per level, 9 points. That is not enough points to justify doing this for 1 and 2-star champions. It's not enough points to justify using a brew and spending the silver to do so. Now, it's not until we get to 3-star champions where now we actually want to consider doing this. And this is where you want to level up champions a little bit differently than you normally would, specifically for events and tournaments. Now, that threshold, if you go to the tournaments, is now all of a sudden giving you 2 points per level at 3-star champions instead of the 1 point at 1 and 2-star. And what this means is now, if you are specifically going for points, it's actually going to be worth using brews, or it's going to be worth going through and doing a single run on the difficulty that you're farming at, because of course the earlier levels are going to be much less experience to get. They all give you the same number of points, whether you go from level 1 to level 2 or level 59 to level 60. So obviously if you can get more levels with less experience, this is a strategy that you want to do in order to maximize your event and tournament rewards. And just so you guys can actually see here, this is a screen. You can take a screenshot of it, pause the video, come back later, just to show you guys the amount of experience that you get per level up to level 10 for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6-star champions. And you can see the numbers are a little bit different, which, means that you have to treat this strategy a little bit differently based on the star level of champions that you're working on. But obviously, either way, the lower levels are still going to take much less experience than the higher levels. Now, let's get into some specific numbers here for 3-star champions. Let's talk about brews here first, because that's the easy one. So what I would do for 3-star champions to maximize their points is just use a single brew. Now, if we go through it here, just like 1-star and 2-star champions, you're going to end up getting to level 10. Not all brews on champions are going to get you to level 10. You'll see when we get to 4 and 5-star, it's going to be a little bit different because they take different amounts of experience in order to get to that level. But for 3-star, it's going to get us to level 10. That's a difference of 9 levels, but now we are getting 2 points per level instead of 1 point per level like 1 and 2-star champions. This means that we are actually going to get 18 points for using a single brew. That's a huge difference from the only 9 points that we would have gotten for using them on 1 and 2-star champions. And of course, we're still using a single brew. We're still spending 7,000 silver. Now we're just getting twice the number of points for events and tournaments. Now, what I would not do is use a second brew, because now, instead of getting a total of 9 levels, we are going from 10 to 15, which is 5 levels. And 5 levels at 2 points per level is only going to be 10 points. So I would really try to stick to, out of your brews, I would try to get 15 points or more. That's kind of the number that I feel is appropriate. You could go with a slightly different number if you want. It's totally up to you. You can change your numbers a little bit based on the number of brews you have, based on the number of silver that you have, but you really don't want to drop below 10. That's bad, and at that point, it's absolutely not going to be worth your resources. So, all right, now let's get into 4-star champions. And if you're wondering what you would do after you actually just got the levels for that champion, the whole point of this is to just get some levels for the points for events and tournaments, and then you would stop leveling it, and then you would just crunch it as food, just like you would for a normal champion, right? Okay, so 4-star champions are a little bit different here, but still, you'll see that they're actually a bit more similar to 3-star champions than 5-star champions are to 4-star champions. So let me pull one up here that's level 1. And if I use a single brew, we're actually going to get even more rewards here from the 4-star compared to the 3-star, because now we're getting 3 points per level, right? Even though we only actually get up to level 9, and I know that drives me crazy there, that you're really close to that 10th level, but unfortunately you don't quite get it. It's a total gain of 8 levels. At 3 points per level, we are now getting 24 points for using this single brew right here. That's compared to the 18 points that we got for 3-star champions and only the 9 points that you would end up getting for 1 and 2-star. So you're getting a lot more usefulness from the same amount of resources that you're using. Still 1 brew, still 7,000 silver. Now, the second brew here, I would not go with it. I mean, it's up to you. It's 15 points, right? So this is kind of the, I guess you could say this is the point where you could either go with yes or no as your answer here. I lean more towards no, just because of the amount of silver that it takes to use your brews, in addition to actually having to have the brews. But if you've got a ton of silver, if you got a ton of brews, I don't think it's bad. You are going to get 15 points. Another important factor as well is if there is a tournament or an event going on, how close are you to your goal? Like, do you still have a lot of work that you need to do? Do you need a ton of points, but you have a really short period of time? In that case, I would lean more towards no. If you still think you can do it normally without having to really stretch out, then I would, err on the side of caution. But definitely do not go any more than that. This one is going to end up giving you 12 points. Now you're getting a lot closer to only 10 points per brew, and at that point, I definitely do not think that it is worth it. So that's 4 stars. Now let's talk about 5 stars, because 5 stars are pretty crazy here. So I do have some 5 stars here, and if we use a single brew, this is like the loot pinata of event and tournament points for champion training, because we got 8 levels, which is 4 points per level, right? So 4 points per level for 5-star champions. That's going to be 32 points from a single brew. The only thing that's going to be better is obviously 6-star champions, but I'm not even going to talk about 6-star champions because you're going to be getting those to all max level anyway, because those aren't food champions, obviously. Those are your champions that you're working on, so it doesn't really matter. That doesn't really factor into the equation of what we're talking about. Now, the second one on a 5-star champion is still worth it. It's not kind of like the middle ground for 4-star champions. Because you are now getting 4 points per level instead of 3 points per level, you're getting 5 levels at 4 points per level. That's 20 points. That's definitely worth it. And I would even say, oh no, never mind. This one's not worth it. It's only 3 points. I thought it got up to level 18. If it did, it would be worth it. But if it only gets you up to level 17, that's 3 levels total. At 4 points per level, that's 12. That's a little bit too low. Maybe if you have some 1-star food that you want to use as a little bit of a boost here to get that last level, I would say it's worth it at that point. But if you only get that 3 levels from the single brew, it definitely is not worth it. So once again, that really important number is kind of like 15-ish. Anything more than 15 points per brew is worth it, in my opinion, for these events and tournaments. Anything less than that, I don't think it's worth the resources. Now, the thing that I haven't talked about here is the other option, which is just kind of running through the campaign, just doing like maybe 1 or 2 runs. Now, the reason why I used Brews as my main example here instead of this is because the amount of experience that you actually get from the campaign is going to depend drastically. Every single person watching this video is going to come up with slightly different numbers, whether you are farming brutal, hard, normal, whether you have the raid card, whether you have double experience boosts, like it's all going to change these numbers a little bit here. And the one solid thing that I can say is it's still worth, at least for every single star, 3, 4, and 5, it's going to be worth doing at least 1 run, at the very least. And for 4 and 5-star champions, it's probably going to be worth doing maybe even 2 and possibly 3 runs. It really depends on the boost that you have and what content you're actually farming. Now, the decisive number that I can give you guys when it comes to the points that you get and campaign farming is try to get more than 2 tournament points per energy that you spent. Now, that might seem really difficult, but remember, you are leveling up 3 champions now instead of just 1. Use a brew. It's a single brew that you use on a single champion. But when you do this, the campaign strategy, now you are using your campaign farmer to level up 3 champions consecutively. So, you know, just as an example here, let's go through a single run. I'm not going to get a lot of experience from this because I do not have my raid card active. I just have the double experience boost. But I believe it's going to take my 3 stars to level 5, 6, something along those lines. And at 1 point per level, you can see here, 30 points. That one was definitely worth it, right? So that got me 5 levels times 3 of them, right? 2 points per level, 15 times 2, that gave us the 30. Now let's do actually one more run, just so we can kind of see. And remember, we're trying to stay above that 2 tournament or event points per energy. So as long as we could stay like above 16 or so, I'd say this is worth it. So we got 18 that run. I'd say it's worth it. It's, you know, borderline. We're getting close to the point where maybe it's not worth it as much. So it's not as big of a deal if I were to not do that run as the first one. But once you get below, like if it were to be below 16 points, then at that point I would skip out and just start to crunch those champions now. So this is definitely going to help you out getting a lot more of the points for these events and tournaments. You know, it all depends as well on your resources. If you're really stretched, if you don't have a lot of energy, if you don't have a lot of brews, I would definitely be more conservative with the numbers. Instead of maybe 15, maybe go up to 20 for the brews, and instead of 2 points per energy, maybe 2.5 points per energy, or maybe even 3 points per energy. You can kind of work with this a little bit, but either way, you're going to be able to get more points for your events and tournaments using this strategy. So I hope that you guys enjoyed the video. If you did and you want more videos like this in the future, consider subscribing to the channel. Feel free to leave a quick like as well. It really does help out. So thank you so much to all of you guys who decide to do that. And more Raid Shadow Legends videos, guides, tutorials, and all that fun stuff should be popping up on the screen right about now. Feel free to check them out. But if not, until next time, take care, everyone. And this is Salt of the Salty Guild, signing out.